A movie scene can become so iconic that the location where it's shot becomes a popular tourist attraction itself, and locations that would normally attract attention, such as the steps leading up the Philadelphia Museum of Art, can suddenly become overrun with tourists because Rocky Balboa ran up them while training to fight Apollo Creed. Of course, the magic of cinema is limited to the screen, but a small part of that magic can be experienced in real life if fans can visit the locations where beloved fictional characters visited in their favorite films. Stay tuned to find out some of the coolest locations you can actually visit. First up, Devil's Tower, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Although it was mostly overshadowed at the time by cultural phenomenon of Star Wars, Steven Spielberg's film, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, had since emerged as a true sci-fi classic. Devil's Tower, a rock formation in Wyoming, plays a very important role in the plot. In order to evacuate the area promptly for the arrival of the alien mothership, the government falsified reports of a toxic nerve gas spill, with Richard Dreyfuss famously recreating the butte with mashed potatoes. So if you're ever in Wyoming, this is a must visit. Next up, Hobbiton in New Zealand. Enter a magical world. Quite literally, Middle Earth is only 2 hours south of Auckland near Matamata in New Zealand, where Peter Jackson has created an enchanting fantasy township. The Hobbiton movie set was famously featured in the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogies. His quaint hobbit hole set into sprawling hillsides on part of a sheep and cattle farm. The party tree, a pine, towers over everything, including Bilbo Baggins' home, one of 44 on a nearby rising hill. The set was mostly dismantled after the Ring trilogy concluded. However, when it was rebuilt for the Hobbit films, the permanent materials were used, leaving behind the fully realistic tourist transaction. Next up, Firehouse Hook and Ladder Company 8 from Ghostbusters. The firehouse that served as the titular organization's headquarters in Ghostbusters was built in 1903. It still remained in service for various years following the film's release. On September 11, 2001, Hook and Ladder Company 8 firefighters were among the first responders. The city almost closed down the firehouse a few years ago, but it received a $6 million renovations thanks to a number of endorsements, including one from actor and former firefighter Steve Buscemi. Shibuya Crossing, Tokyo, Japan. This must-see scramble intersection depicted in Sofia Coppola's Lost in Translation is located west of central Tokyo, just outside Shibuya Station's Hachiko exit. You could fight your way through the organized chaos like Scarlett Johansson in the film, but the best place to watch the action is on the second floor of the nearby Starbucks. In fact, Sophia and a small crew shot footage of the crossing for the film through the Starbucks window. Next up, an iconic horror film location, the Amityville Horror House. It's rumored to be haunted and was the scene of a terrifying true story where a disturbed young man killed 6 of his family members in 1974, making it one of America's scariest places. The legend surrounding the house at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York, spanned 2 films which went by the same name, along with several sequels. The house that famously featured in the 1979 film is located at 18 Brooks Road in Toms River, New Jersey, while the home featured in the 2005 remake is located in Salem, Wisconsin. Another iconic movie located includes Sydney, Australia. The Harbor City is the star of Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible 2, which was shot almost entirely in Sydney locations such as Royal Randwick Racecourse and The Rocks. Fans remember the thrilling motorcycle chase in and around the heritage-listed Bear Island Fort in La Perouse, as well as across its 130-year-old wooden bridge. The producers initially approached authorities to see if they could actually blow up the bridge. As a result of the answer, any damage you see is digital. Next up, the Gold Coast, located in Queensland, Australia. A subtropical climate and diverse landscape provide a steady supply of picturesque settings, so it's no surprise that Hollywood flocks to Queensland Gold Coast for big-budget productions. The Spit in Southport doubled as a fishing village in Aquaman and may do so again, with an Aquaman sequel in the works and set to film in Queensland, according to star Jason Momoa. While Palm Beach, Currumbum State High was transformed into an American school in Dora the Explorer's live-action Dora and the Lost City of Gold adventure, the iconic Harry Met Sally location you can actually visit. The famous scene in the film where Harry Met Sally, where Meg Ryan fakes an orgasm to demonstrate how simple it is, with Estelle Reiner delivering the punchline, "I'll have what she's having," made Kat's Delicatessen, aka a small diner, famous. In the scene, the table where Harry and Sally sat is marked by a specific sign that reads, "Where Harry Met Sally. Hope you have what she had." Additionally, Kat's was named for the best deli in the city by Zagat in 2016, so it's quite recognizable for more than being the famous location of a very funny scene. Next up, Hang San Laguna in the Philippines was home to this film. The Vietnam War-inspired film Apocalypse Now was set in Vietnam and Cambodia, but the filmmaker's notoriously disastrous shot took place in the jungles of the Philippines. The filmmaker was quoted as saying about the shoot, "We were in the middle of the jungle. We were far too numerous, we had too much money and too much equipment, and we gradually became insane." Now, fans can follow in the footsteps of Captain Willard by taking a guided trip up the Bumbangan River, which in the 1979 film ran alongside Colonel Kurtz's compound. Next, you can visit the location of the iconic film Die Hard. When 20th century century Fox was filming Die Hard, an action film set almost entirely in a skyscraper, the studio was able to save money by filming at their own high-rise corporate headquarters, Fox Plaza in Los Angeles. Because it was their roof, the studio could blow it up. Because they were their windows, they could break a lot of them. Die Hard fans with keen eyes can easily spot it in the Los Angeles skyline. Another famous film site you can visit is based in Philadelphia and is from Rocky. The steps leading up to Sylvester Stallone's iconic performance in Rocky have drawn more tourists to Philadelphia Museum of Art than the museum itself. During the first of many training montages, Rocky Balboa famously ran up these steps to the museum, and now fans are able to do the same. There even happens to be a bronze statue of Rocky at the top of the 72 steps, which have since been dubbed the Rocky Steps, after everyone's favorite underdog boxer. Next, Jurassic Park. The 1,600-hectare Kualoa Ranch, just 37 kilometers from Waikiki in Oahu, Hawaii, has been dubbed Hawaii's backlot for the past 65 years. Take an ATV tour to Jurassic Park's famous fallen tree, marvel at Godzilla's massive footprints, which had to be filled in slightly due to the ranch's cows falling in, or pretend to flee the Jumanji reboot's jungle baddies. There are numerous other enjoyable activities available, such as horseback riding, kayaking, and ziplining. Another iconic film location, Glenfinnan Viaduct, UK. Most people think of Hogwarts when they think of Harry Potter and his films and television shows, but another location from the film is equally significant, aka Glenfinnan Viaduct. It represents the path that Hogwarts Express takes to get to the school, and you can eventually visit the magnificent railway viaduct and imagine the magical journey from the movies. It follows the main road at the head of Loch Shiel, so you can take in breathtaking scenery as well. You can finish the journey by taking a train. Next up, this Tomb Raider location can be visited by viewers. We travel to the mystical land of rocks and temples. Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, has made Cambodia one of the most popular film and television destinations. Angelina Jolie, who plays Lara Croft, embarks on an epic adventure in Cambodia. To be more specific, she visits Angkor Thom, the temple complex, as well as the 54 towers with smiling face carvings. This X-Men location can be visited by anybody. Famously, Hatley Castle in British Columbia, Canada, was used for this exterior for Xavier's school for gifted youngsters in the X-Men series. It's an imposing structure that exuded majesty long before it made the film debut in 1996. Many of the exterior shots for the films were shot in Canada, with viewers able to see other familiar facades at Casa Loma in Toronto and Parkwood Estates in Oshawa. While the interior was not used during filming, you can walk around the castle and fantasize about being invited to study alongside some of the most memorable characters in the comic book movie history. Finally, the beach starring Leonardo DiCaprio. A paradise like this one is a once-in-a-life opportunity. White sand beaches as soft as cotton and clear translucent water surrounded by beautiful mountains. It's easy to see why Koh Phi Phi was chosen as the setting for the film for the beach. The story follows Leonardo DiCaprio's character's relationship with a beach community of marijuana enthusiasts. However, we must admit that Thailand's natural beauty is the main attraction. As a result, since the film's release, crowds of people have flocked to this location. And there you have it, everything you need to know regarding some places you can visit where some of the most popular movies were filmed. Now, make sure to let us know your thoughts down below, and as always, thanks for watching.